comes to body language, few are as fluent as Barnum.
Being beaten, raped, or even killed were possibilities if that was the day a drug dealer found out that I was an undercover police officer.
Body language was this former undercover cop's key to survival.
Making a good first impression, also building rapport and building trust. The best case scenario is they liked you and they would deal with you. Worst case scenario is
you're dead.
So I was finishing law school and then transferred to the Crown Attorney's office where I became a prosecutor. Okay, you know what you're talking about. It was a really interesting debate last night. I watched it the first time live with the sound on, and then I rewatched it with the sound off because the body language is a lot louder when you can't actually hear what they're saying. So it gave me a lot more information. I started out as a uniformed police officer, and then I was recruited by drug enforcement. I was the only woman in a unit of 92 specialized officers that worked undercover, and I did that for almost a decade. And then when Kevin and I got together and started a family, you know, buying crack and stuff as a mom is a tough gig, right? So you lose things to talk about with the other parents at the side of the soccer pitch. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you something. Now, I want you to take all the time you need. And don't say anything until you're absolutely sure. And I also want you, before you answer, ask yourself, what does she already know? And then ask your question. The more I questioned and revealed a little bit more to him as to where this was going to be going, his body language ended up like that. So he had a wall between the two of us. And it wasn't what he said that really dialed it up for me that I had the right person. It was his body language. So I show people how to crack the code on deception and to better interpret body language. My techniques evolved over 20 years in the criminal justice system, first as an undercover police officer in the drug enforcement section, and later as a federal prosecuting attorney. When I worked deep undercover, it was my job to build rapport with drug dealers, bikers, and other violent offenders.
It shows that you're interested and engaged, and when you respond with a conversational tone, it provides context and clarity, and that goes even further toward building trust.
One of the best parts about speaking is actually what happens afterward, and that's when people will come up and tell you what they liked best or what their biggest takeaway was. To think that you can just read a book and understand the nuances of body language, it doesn't work like that. That's why keynotes and workshops are so important. I just want to share a couple of the skills that you can take forward with you around decoding body language, so understanding what other people are saying to you without their words.
Okay, so you're focused inward. You're not looking around what Pam Barnum's struggling around and the other guy's over there trying to hold her up to make sure she doesn't fall into you. You're not paying attention to that.
And then you'll get an email letting you know that they applied that technique, they used it, and it changed their life. So often I think we get focused on the words that are being said, but when I was training to be a police officer and training to be a lawyer, one of the things that they stressed was watching what people are saying, watching their body language, watching their nonverbals. And it doesn't have to be this secret second language that only people who have gone through professional training can understand. They're really simple techniques that anyone can use, and I think it's important that more people become aware of them and use them to their advantage.
Which pose better demonstrates empathy? Is it the woman posed in A or B? If you believe it is A, please raise your hand. Okay, everyone with their hand raised, please have a seat. So, now, I'm guessing the reason you raised your hand is because the woman in B has her arms crossed? Okay. What if the air conditioning's up super high? What if she's gluten intolerant and had one of those delicious muffins that were outside and now she's all bloated up and she doesn't want anyone asking if she's expecting? You know, she could have a bad back. There's a million reasons. So the most important thing, and of course we do face some challenges around this, is her face.
So this is really about improving communication skills. That's what it boils down to. And if you can get better at understanding and interpreting body language and nonverbals, imagine what that could do when it comes to negotiating better deals or closing more sales or really strengthening important relationships, building trust in those relationships.
Thank you, Australia and New Zealand. I'll be back.